This time on Low Boost, we're putting an intake on our G30 540i, but make sure to stay to the end of the video so you guys can hear how it sounds. Many of you guys are familiar with BMWs. Adding an intake is one of the best things you could do to it, not only just for getting a little bit of added performance, but you really start hearing the sound of the turbo and blow-off valve on these things. So it's the first performance modification that I'm doing to this car, first performance modification that I've done to every turbocharged BMW that I have, and we're gonna do it today so you guys can follow along. Now, I got this on Extreme Powerhouse. It was 179 bucks, and they do make other intakes for this that are carbon fiber with all these different heat shields, and they're $1,000. But for me, as far as the performance that I'm looking to get, that extra 2-wheel horsepower that I'm saving from IAT temperature changes while I'm driving is going to be minuscule. The car's a street car. If I take it to the drag strip, it's really not going to make that much of a difference. So the juice is not worth the squeeze for me to spend the extra money to get those parts. But if you're gonna get them for yours, it's fine too. They look great. But this is what we're gonna go with today. So first, we're gonna pop the hood. And that's our nice blue filter. And this is the mounting slash unit for the math. It comes with the mounting bolt there too. This is BMS on it. Nice billet piece. It's aluminum, I think, anodized. If you're wondering what some of these are in the background, that's my BMW E36 Turbo LS swap. I'm currently doing a bunch of stuff to that, so if you're interested in that kind of stuff, consider subscribing. And that's a 1966 Ford Mustang that was a 6-cylinder, and it's going to be a 351 Windsor swap. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to undo all the Torx bits that are around the airbox. There's one more Torx bit that I really can't get on straight on because the MAF is there, so we're gonna disconnect that. So we're gonna pop out that clip, a little screwdriver, and disconnect it. Next, either with a flathead screwdriver, or I would prefer a 6mm socket, you undo the hose clamp that goes over the intake. I wouldn't do it all the way, just do it enough so you can actually pop out the stock airbox. You definitely got to use more elbow grease. I had to do it a little bit off camera, but it does pop out. Just have somebody hold this side and pull that apart. And then this is your stock airbox. Now, once this is off, we're going to want to reuse this, and we're going to put the mass airflow sensor on the Berger Motorsports intake. Then we take out our stock air filter to reveal all that restriction. This actually will serve still as a decent heat shield for what we're looking to do. This episode is brought to you by Extreme Powerhouse. Whether you have a BMW, an Audi, Ford Mustang, or a bunch of other cars, make sure you check them out. They have a great selection of performance parts for a bunch of different types of vehicles. And if you go on there and use the coupon code LOWBOOST, all one word, you get access to some extra special discounts. So next, I'm just going to remove the bolts that are provided and slide in the mass airflow sensor. It should lock right into place. The other way. It'll let you know if you put it in backwards, because you won't be able to put it in all the way. Then we're going to tighten these down with an Allen key. To be quite honest with you, even though these are metal, the unit itself, the MAF, is plastic, so I really don't like to over tighten these too much, because you don't want to break the housing, because that will ruin your seal on your intake, and potentially, well, it's pre-turbo, so it won't be a boost leak, but it could throw off your MAF reading. This bracket actually fits. It's got a groove on it. And that's going to fit right over this, actually this way though. Just like that. And that's actually where you're going to actually screw the original nut back or original screw back in there, and that should bolt up easily. And putting that on loose, I actually can move this around and align it to where it's got to meet that, but just not tightening everything down all the way, just so I can get everything where I want it to be and then tighten it down fully. So what I did here was I didn't actually tighten down anything. I have it all loose. And then as I tighten everything down, I'll tighten the clamp back up too. I just wanted everything to fit where it was supposed to. We'll plug back in the MAF. There. Tighten our clamp up. Tighten it, make a good seal, and then I will use the Allen key to finish this off. In order to make this easiest to tighten down, it came this way, but I flipped the hose clamp around, that way I could put a socket straight down on top of it. Just like that. And just as it sits like that, I'll find the right socket to hit it. I'm guessing 10 millimeter, which you know I don't have, because nobody ever has their 10 millimeter when they need it. Oh no, it's an 8. There you have it. It's all on. All back together. Let's fire it up and see how it sounds. All right, so I'm gonna take the car out for a little spin. Full disclosure, I put the microphone on the actual intake cone because it's kind of hard to hear in this car. Even with the windows down, you hear it a little bit, but it's faint. Just because the sound deadening in this thing is so great. So hopefully we'll get some good sounds out of this. All right, so it definitely has an improvement in sound. And as far as performance goes, when I can get, a draggy on or get it back to the track, I'll be able to test out and see the difference in the quarter mile. 8-wheel horsepower should be, at least a mile per hour, maybe. But it's more about the other modifications we're gonna do to it that this is gonna help down the road. But as far as noise, the 540, comparatively to like my old M235, just feel like it has more sound deadening, and you really can't hear the outside of the car as much as you could in other BMWs. But also, this is just a filter replacement here and here, and the original intake hose is still, the original intake hose, and there's some, other stuff on it probably to help the deadening too. I don't know if there's other stuff that I could replace or remove on it. I have to check it out. But as far as sound goes, outside of the car, you definitely can hear it. As I had the microphone like right here, you definitely could hear it outside of the car. Inside the car, you still hear it too. But it's more spoolie sounds than normal. Like I said, you might get more with a different one, but for the money, it's hard to beat this Berger Motorsports intake. So if you guys are interested in any performance parts, just like I said before, check them out on Extreme Powerhouse and use the coupon code LOWBOOST, all one word. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.